I'm going to ask you about what your role is on this. It's public outreach?
Actually, I'm the field director.
Okay. So we've talked about the specifics of how the dig is going to happen and techniques and
Okay.
tools.
I'm also public outreach.
Okay.
Not
So
anything.
you wear two hats.
I clean the truck out at the end of the project.
When people say I wear two hats, I just want to smack them. Is she facing the right way or is she looking off?
She's fine.
Really?
Looking right straight at.
Can you hit the glamour button
Just
on
make
there?
sure you're kind of turned that way.
Oh, so how do you?
Because the
It's a
chair's-
chair. That's
Can
what
we
it
turn
is.
the chair?
Oh,
Does that irritate you?
just tell me what you want.
Michael.
Okay.
I just look stupid. That's not.
I just
You
need
can't
to
do anything
control
about that.
everything.
Okay.
Control. You control something.
Okay. I
Um,
know the feeling.
Okay. So what are your two roles on the Purriesburg dig?
I have a couple roles. One of them, I'm the field director, so I'm in charge of just overseeing the overall completion of the project, the crew, also doing historical research with Dan Elliott, and then also doing public outreach because that's a really important part of this project.
How much does the research that you've done for this particular project, how does it tie into the big picture of all the other small battle or the battles around it in the Creek, Kettle, Briar, Carsport, and the trip to England? Is this all one big?
It's all one big party. It's really exciting because you start looking at individual battles and you see individual specific strategies, but then when you start looking at each one of them, you can see the sum total of the parts, and it all starts making sense. It's like, oh, that's why they went to this place first and this place next. That's why the troops were assembling over here. It all starts making sense, and I think that's what is lacking in American history when people study it. It's just names and dates, and if you start looking at the big picture, that's when you start really understanding what's going on.
Well, tell me the story of where you went and what you did there and to do this research.
Well, we've done past research for these various battles in United Kingdom, in England, Ireland, Scotland, and then also up in the New England area of the United States. But also coming up, we'll be doing some more research specific to the Purriesburg project, and we're going to go to New York and to Boston to look at some of the archives there, because there's a lot of materials from the South that have been saved and preserved, which is wonderful, but they're up in other locations. They're not in the South anymore, so we have to travel to those documents. But they should give us a really good foothold on locations at the time that we can tie into modern locations, so we can look at the documents that we gather and collect and figure out where they're talking about specific areas. We can tie that into the landscape then and the landscape today, and that will help us locate the battlefield on the ground.
How important is that research compared to the digging?
It's a big part of it. It's a big component. You don't want to just go out digging anywhere. You want to be in the right place, or the areas that you think have the potential to be the right place, because it's a huge area. So one way to help narrow down that area is to look at these research documents to figure out, well, where might it be likely to be. Then you can start ruling out areas, and then you can start actually searching the more likely areas to see where it is.
Okay. The techniques in the field, in plain English. Are you gonna do like lines, transects like you did before? Because I'll have this video of that, and when I interview you guys in the field, it's always distracting, and your noses are running.
Oh, in January it will
Yeah,
be.
right.
Yeah.
Tell me the kind of order of battle for what happens out there.
Okay. Well, after we do the research, we figure out specifically, we'll do some overlays, GIS, Geographic Information Systems overlays, trying to line up modern maps with old maps. And so we'll use that to figure out where we want to work in the field. Then once we get in the field, we'll do a controlled metal detector survey. So we'll line up with metal detectors and cover specific areas and start locating objects. And then we'll see which objects date to the right period. We'll map those in horizontally, vertically, know exactly where everything's coming from. Then we can start seeing, well, which of these are battlefield objects, and we'll start drawing lines around them and figure out where the battlefield was or where different parts of the battle were occurring over the landscape.
So you used GPS survey tools to actually pinpoint things and then put it together into like a grid, a map. Can you just describe that, how that
Okay.
works? Because we can show a picture of that.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can't because we don't want to show pot hunters where to go. But
Well, but yeah, that's okay. You could show one that doesn't show anything. Yeah. Technology today is wonderful for archaeology. We still use the shovel, but we use all these other techniques that help us a lot, and GPS is one of them. So if we find something with a metal detector, not only do we record how deep it is, but we can record where it is in real life. So the GPS allows us to say, where on the earth it is. And then we have all these locations, so then we can make a map of where on earth all these things are. And that map is critical to telling us what's going on there. You know, anybody can go out and find something, but knowing where it is helps you figure out the big picture of where it's coming from and what, if it is the battle, and what part of the battle it's associated with.
Moving into to the public outreach, how hard is it to get people to care?
Good question. People care. People are busy. People are really busy in 2014. In the 21st century, people are busier than ever. People really care. They get excited when they know about the field work. The field work excites them. Unfortunately, they don't always get to see the other sides of the pre-field work, all the work that goes into it, why it's important, and what happens after. And what I really care about is when we discover these sites, you know, for people to know about them, to become engaged with them, and then to care about them. And if they care about them, they might want to preserve them. They might want to incorporate what we find into the Revolutionary War Trail they're developing in Jasper County. They might want to incorporate it into their high school studies program or their college studies program. So I think once they know about it, they will care about it. It's just trying to reach the people that's sometimes difficult.
Well, what tools and activities, and when I say tools, I mean like written things and such, PowerPoints, what do you do to actually reach out to them and get the story out?
It's hard. We try real hard, and we need to be more effective. But some of the things we do are, before we even go out in the field, we've already talked to lots of folks in Jasper County. We've talked to collectors in the area that hopefully we can work with and they'll work with us. We've talked to city and county administrators. We've talked to education folks, libraries. So already we've tried to let them know what we're doing and invite their input. I think that's the first step. And then what we're going to do also is, as we start doing field work, we'll let people know what we're doing, invite them to participate with us. And then as we develop our results and our interpretations, we'll give PowerPoint presentations at local societies in the area. We'll try to share the reports. We'll make the report available online for anybody that wants to download it for free. We hope that we can share this information with the folks developing cultural tourism in the area, the trails and other things, talk to K through 12 educators about it and how they might want to incorporate it into some of their lessons. So there's all sorts of avenues. If we can just let people know we're there, hopefully they'll come to us and we can work together and see how to best reach everybody.
Well, you know, if it were just about the artifacts and the knowledge, you could just go do this and not tell anybody, and probably, except for missing out on the pot hunters who know where everything is, you know, it'd be a lot easier for you. I know the Park Service requires you to do that, so you have to anyway.
Yeah, to some degree.
Why do people need to know?
Well, I think people need to know about this because it's our history. It's what makes us unique. And if you go to Jasper County today, you might drive through some of the areas, you might drive by the interstate exit, and you'll see one thing. You'll see gas stations and fireworks stores. You might drive through other parts of the area, you'll see some residents, some rural areas, some woods. But you probably likely have no clue of what happened there in history and how important it was. I mean, that was a major thing going on. The Revolutionary War activity was big in Jasper County in the 1778, that period, and most people don't know about it, but it's a key component of American history right there underneath their feet. So how rich to share that with people and let that just color their perspective, because it is part of their history.
That was awesome.